Hey, if you want to see how revising your work can make it the best it can be, as well as watch Teal tear apart one of my old manuscripts, keep watching, because class is in session.
I'ma blow up. Yeah.
Hello everyone, I'm Teal.
And I'm Teal.
And we're with Studio Blue.
Thank you for joining us for our Creator Classroom. Tonight's topic is revising your work.
Alright, so hello Chaos, Wrath of Wood, RPG, Emma, Valborn, and anyone else who may be watching. We really appreciate you guys being here. The almost didn't happen tonight. We had some massive technical difficulties during the RPG Maker stream. And we found out some fundamental problems with our Streamlabs install, as well as how our rig was handling Streamlabs resources. So we've spent the past 2.5 hours deep diving.
Oh yeah.
We found an intermediate solution, and hopefully we'll have found a long-term solution for everything we do.
Right.
So, hello Berkeleos, welcome to the stream. Don't want to bore you guys too much with all that. As long as you can see our pretty faces and Creator Classroom and the presentation, we G to G. So, as usual, if you're watching us live, please give us a follow and consider subscribing it. If you're watching us over VOD, please smack that like button, click subscribe, ring the notification bell with tender loving care, give us comments. Teal, talk a little bit about revising. Just give the briefest of intros while the slime does his thing.
Okay. So, revising is actually the most important thing you can do. Because usually your first draft, which you get down, it's just barf, to be honest with you. And revising is where your story comes out. The meat of your story, the bulk of your final product comes out under revision.
Yeah.
And I can't stress enough how important it is to revise several times, making several passes through your work, and having other people look at your work and give you suggestions and making revisions based on their feedback. So it's important to revise. It's also important to have a group of your peers help you revise.
Yep.
So that's basically my little take on revising.
And Teal has hit the nail on the head. It is actually, like she said, it is the most important part of the creative and writing process. It's also the most intensive. We often say, and have said for the time we've been doing this, the drafting is easy. The real work is in the revisions.
Yes,
and
it is.
That is where the writer, whether they be a game writer or a story writer or a book writer or what have you, does most of the work. So welcome very much, Graceless, Chaos, everybody. I think I said Chaos twice. Thank you so much for that compliment, Wrath. Wrath says that intro is straight fire. I love your intros and outros. Thank you. We really try to be as professional as humanly possible, which is why we troubleshooted for 2.5 hours straight our Streamlabs installation, and we're going to keep troubleshooting until we get it right.
Right.
We're never going to have a stutter or drop frame rate. That's our goal, is to never have anything break during stream.
Right.
But having said that, lots of love to you guys. Yeah, barf as in Mog, as in my own best friend. He's a Mog. Barf as in your first draft is always going to be crap. It's going to be a steaming pile.
Oh, yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Ronald, welcome
There's
to the stream.
Ronald, yep.
Babies. Yeah. All right. Well, hopefully this will help. So this is going to be a two-parter, as in 2 parts tonight. We're going to give the lecture together, Teal and I. It's going to be very conversational.
Yes.
We'll have our bullet points up, but we're just going to talk a lot and answer your questions. As usual, if you have any questions during the classroom, please ask. But once we get through the presentation and we're done kind of just talking to you about the ways and the importance and all that, then we're going to BRB for just a second, switch screens. I'm going to hand Teal the keyboard, and Teal is going to actually revise one of my earlier manuscripts. And I mean early. We dug this sucker out of the bin and went, yeah, this is pretty schmarpy.
Yeah, we went into the cobweb vault and got this one out.
Yeah, so Ronald, if you've been struggling with your story recently, this classroom is for you. First draft with a lot of things are rough. First draft with everything rough. All right, let's jump on.
Let's do this thing.
So the purpose of the presentation is, well, the most important thing is we're going to define what revisions are or not, because Teal did a good job of saying what revisions are, but a lot of times people think revisions are something else.
Right, and we're going to go over those something else's briefly.
So that you won't think, okay, this is me revising my work, because I can promise you that the vast majority of you in the audience, and I don't say that with smugness because I once thought revisions were something else. You're thinking completely different when we're talking about revising. And then we'll give you advice.
We'll give you advice. We'll give you techniques for stories and scripts.
Both of them.
We'll give you pitfalls to avoid. And then I'm going to take you through a real life revision.
Yes. And if this goes over time a little bit, because revisions are time consuming, then so be it. Stick with us until you don't want to anymore.
Yeah.
Because this is the work. She gonna do it. Yes, Raph.
A woman script. That's funny.
Yep. Pitfall. I think too many people want. Well, that's impossible.
That is impossible.
That
BG.
is impossible.
Yeah.
I know a single author who will do a strong one revision, but what she does when she does her draft is she takes constant notes through all parts of every aspect of drafting, and then it's like a freaking typewriter. She'll then make a revision draft off of everything, but she spends so much time preparing for that revision draft, she might as well just be rewriting it 5 or 6 times. However, even that's not what she sends off to her editor.
No, that's not.
Okay. Yeah, no one draft is perfect. Draft 1 is never perfect. Boom, 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 boom. It never is. That first thing you write, that first draft of any story is gonna be garbage. All right, so let's just jump right on in. Let's jump right on in here.
Okay.
So we have to define the word revise. Okay, you have to understand what that means. And we pulled this right out of, I think it was either Merriam-Webster or dictionary.com, one of the two. It means to look over again in order to correct or improve. And that's the big part right there. You're not just fixing it. You're looking over it. You're examining it.
You have to tear it apart and look for ways to improve or cut, put it back together again.
Right. As we mentioned earlier, most of the work is done here. And the reason that we are stressing why this is this way, oh shit, Chaos, I hope your Wi-Fi ends up okay. The reason we stress this is so important is it's that observation, that helicopter view, that pulling away from the emotion and the minutia of your work is absolutely required for revising. You can't revise your own work, let alone expect someone else to do it, if you're not capable of pulling away from the minute details. And let's talk a little bit about how that relates to our game critiquing.
Okay,
when we game critique, most of the time, especially when we do it on streams, we're picking up a little issue here, a little issue there. You know, oh, that treasure chest isn't opening properly. Those items aren't described. This character has an iron sword in one scene and a red blood sword in the other. There's no continuity. That's not revising. That's not looking at the whole. That's just pointing out the minutia. A good example is both Edge of Eternity and Final Fantasy VII Remake. When we were playing the games on Critical Plays, we were giving minutia issues. When we created our finalized review videos, that was more of a pulled back look at overview of where things do and don't work, where manuscripts or stories where games fail.
Right.
And that is the key to revising, is you're pulling back and you're looking at all the pieces, parts, not just the full picture, not just the little pieces, but how all those little pieces make the whole picture. How
they all connect.
Right.
You know, you're looking for continuity. You're looking for, does this make sense or not? You're looking for, well, just how dialogue flows, all of that.
Yeah.
That's what you're looking at.
You're never looking at one thing.
You don't just ever look at one thing.
You look at everything and how each of those one things connect.
Right.
All right. Chaos is back. Hope your Wi-Fi is better. So let's move on a little bit. Okay. So this is what revising does not mean.
Nope.
Okay.
It is not proofreading. Okay. Nope. Fixing spelling and grammar errors. That's proofreading. That's not what revising is. Looking for better words. Come on. That's not revising either. You're just line editing.
Right.
Okay. Better words, repeated words, that sort of thing. And yes, you will be doing proofreading and line editing. Absolutely you will. But that is not what we call dev editing.
No. People often think that revising is, okay, so in this scene, I am saying that, McEnroy is attacking his rapier attacking with his rapier with gusto. And, gusto's not the right way to say this. And attacking's not ready to say this. It's more like assaulting with fever. Mm-hmm. That's not revising.
That's line editing.
Yes.
Okay. Yes, as I said, you're going to do proofreading and line editing. Absolutely. Yeah. You have to. But revising is more dev editing. You're looking at how things flow overall.
Right.
You're looking at how is this story coming out, and you're looking at how the different parts mesh together. That's what you're doing.
And it's also not starting over. I have to start over. I have to completely rewrite this chapter because it's not working. That's not revising either. That's redrafting. That's rewriting.
Right.
So it's not proofreading. It's not line editing. It's not grammatically checking.
Right.
And it's not rewriting. Okay, so we see. That explains why my game went through 7 revisions that are better defined as Scorched Earth. And that's fine. A lot of revisions will be you taking a blowtorch to a huge chunk and then fixing things from those ashes.
Right.
BG says, but all others that went to the beginning made it better. Cool, yeah, fix the flow issues. Another reason to keep working on story details and events with campfire. Easy to review each event for consistency.
Yes, it is. Consistency is key.
There's a reason why my office has a tack board with a ton of post-it notes on it. And they kind of create this sappy ass little flow chart. All right, let's move on.
Yeah, but BG, you're right.
Yeah.
Removing and cutting is part of revising.
Yeah,
it really is.
It is. So we're saying all of that because everything that we're talking about is the circle, the big, huge sphere that is revision.
It's the key word here is critical and critically analyze.
Right.
You want a critical analysis of your entire draft.
So when you look, here are the 3 points to think about. When you're critically analyzing every little piece, how those little pieces fit in to the various chapters and milestones, how those little pieces and milestones fit into the overall narrative, and the overall narrative as a whole. So again, just to break it down, you're critically analyzing every little component and how they make the big component and the big component itself.
Right. So are you saying what you wanted to say?
Right.
Is this something the reader would understand?
Right.
And should you keep this or should you cut it?
Right. And to not just go off of a bullet list, but to talk a bit about those, what you wanted to say, that's really important, because a lot of times when you're drafting, you think you know what you're saying. You think that's what you want to say, because at that moment, it's what feels right. And that's very rarely the case. A lot of the time when you're writing something, you're putting down on the paper the first thing that comes to mind, but that's not what you really want to say. Mm-hmm. And then that leads to the second point. Okay, so what you really wanted to say, is it something that the reader's going to understand, or the player is going to understand? And then they cut it or keep it. And you want to think of it as 3 sets of gates or filters. So you have all of your ideas and stuff coming in through the first filter of, is that what you really want to say? And you want to filter out all the stuff that isn't what you really want to say. Mm-hmm. Then you go through the next filter, which is it something the reader will understand?
And remember, this goes back to who is your target audience?
Right.
Who's your target reader?
Right.
Okay. That what you write is got to be what they understand.
Yep. And then you go through that last filter. So you've already pulled away the things that you don't really want to say. And now you've pulled away the things of the reader's not going to understand. So then you go through that last filter of, should you keep it? So you can go through all of this work when you're revising and still come up with something and go, I don't really need this.
Yeah.
And guess what?
It goes out.
There it goes. Catch up a little bit on chat. Original chapter 3 is no longer the Book of Shadows. That's good. You know, cutting chapters are painful, but if it makes the overall story better,
then
good.
That's what you have to do.
Hey, it's good to see you, Fecky. Sorry it took so long to say hello. We're always happy to see you, my man. Always happy to see you. And Burke says, welcome to Chekhov's School of Writing. If what you have there is cool, but doesn't have any other purpose other than being cool, then yeah, feed it to the Sarlacc. Kick
Yep.
it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If in both video game development and in creative writing, if it, and I don't care if it is a character, a prop, a cool scene, a moment, a power, a particle effect, a chapter, a milestone, a story arc, a story. Mm-hmm. If none of that, if anything there at any point fails to move something forward, even if it's just the player's interest or the reader's interest, get rid of it. Hey, woo! We love you, Miaca.
Thanks to it, Miaca710 for my sub gift.
Oh, that is awesome. Thank you, Booba Hotep, for the gift sub. You are an amazing person. At least I think that's the case. Yes. Okay, cool. Yes.
Chaos, please catch us on VOD.
Yeah.
You don't want to miss this one.
No, we don't. And we'll hope to see you later this week. Yeah, it will happen. Blue Boo is back. That's right. We have the Boo Boo Hotep. Oh, God. Get your ghost scare out. All right, here we go.
Yeah.
So let's talk about advice on revising, because if you don't follow these, you're gonna really have a headache. Finish your work first.
Yes.
Do not. I don't care if you're making a video game or writing a book. Do not start a single bit of revision until you finish your work. All right, BG, I'll do it, but I'm not actually going to scream in the mic. Do not start revising until you finished your first work. Finish your first draft.
Yeah.
Finish your alpha. Do not revise while you work. And we've had people here on chat on our creator classroom say, well, I prefer to do it that way. Do not do it.
Yeah, don't do it.
The amount of headache you're making for yourself is way too much. Trust us. We have done this for years, and I've fucked up so many times. Save yourself the heartache.
Yeah.
Finish your draft, then start revising. And then we say wait. And what do we mean by wait? Finish your alpha for your game, finish the draft for your novel, take it, put it in the oven, let it bake for a week, a month, 2 months, 3 months. I say 3 months, but really, honestly, a couple of weeks to a month is fine. But let it bake. Let it bake.
Because you need some distance between yourself and that work so that you can get a more objective perspective on it.
Exactly. Everything BG just said. Sometimes you learn something late in the draft that you'll need to revise anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And Ronald's like, I did it. I used 6 months for 1 hour of game. Yeah. Hey.
Yes.
I put away a manuscript for... and I think it's getting on, well, it's not quite 10. It'll be 10 years in 2024, so...
Right.
It's actually, I don't know if it's the one that Teal's going to work on, but there's one that I actually I have not touched in a very long time.
Right. Because
it was such a disastrous first draft, so... Moving on. Create a distraction-free environment. Teal?
Oh, gosh, absolutely. When I'm dev editing... I don't have anything going. No, once or twice I have had some BGM in the background when I was doing my second pass on revising, but on my first pass, I don't have anything going on.
Yeah.
I am concentrating fully and solely on that manuscript in front of me.
Yeah.
And that is because you're going to be doing a lot of thinking and juggling and critiquing.
True story.
You really, really can't do that manuscript justice if you're distracted by music or sounds or flashing lights or your phone, your tablet, etc.
Yeah.
You just can't.
The most I would say, do you listen to music at all when you do your first round?
My first round, nope.
So
I
you
do
go
not.
full and I'm the same way during my first draft and my first couple of revisions. I will put on music later.
Yeah.
But that is me. I know some people require music to think, and all we say is make it as distraction free as humanly possible.
My music would be considered boring to most people. It is a like slow instrumental new age that I put on for my second and third rounds of revising.
Yeah, same here. Or a classical, because I'm a big classic freak. Or Sound of Rain, tonal sounds. Those are good too.
Those are good too.
But yeah, Facebook, no.
No
Discord,
Facebook, no Discord, no
Video
social
games,
media,
no.
nothing.
Anime, no. People who, I used to be...
And people, roommates, no. Put earplugs in if you have to. Seriously.
So, true story. I'm not going to speak for Teal, I'll speak for me. I used to be part of a fanfic community, and they would always talk about how they're watching anime on one's computer, or they're watching anime on the TV, and they're writing on their fanfic here, and then they're mushing or mucking or playing WoW on the other. And I used to do it too, and that's why I had so much shit for such a long time, until I started taking my craft as a writer seriously.
Right.
And yeah, don't do it. Just push it out. Well, again, if you have to have music, have it be low level.
Well, what I'm
low
getting
impact.
from Ronald is the initial writing and making dialogues. Yeah, music can help inspire you.
Oh my God, we're being rated by Hawk Zombie with 19! Oh! Hello, Hawk, and everyone else watching. Okay, so that's cool, Ronald. What you're talking about is inspiration. That's not revision. Sorry. I just stole the deal.
You just walked all over me,
I'm
Steele.
sorry.
I'm trying to talk to poor Ronald. All right.
I got distracted by the 19-person raid by the Hawk Zombie.
Okay, so Ronald, it is great to use music or even art as your inspiration for writing story or dialogue as your first pass. But I am talking over Willy Wonka.
You're getting so interrupted.
I'm trying to talk to poor Ronald.
Okay, let me get this part out of the way. Hello, everyone from Hawk Zombie stream. Hello, Hawk Zombie. It is great that you guys are here. Hawktober is lovely. We love you guys. It is totally okay. However, Teal is talking to Ronald, and this particular creator classroom is about revising your work, which we feel is one of the most important things you're ever going to learn. So we love you guys. Thank you so much for the raid. We will be sure to address you if you spam us in chat. But let's let Teal finish, because this is the third time she's been interrupted.
It's okay. I think Ronald has got the point about it's okay for first draft. But when you're doing your revisions, second, third pass, whatever, try to keep those distractions to a minimum, especially when you're going on your first revision, your first time revising. Yes. Keep it quiet, keep it distraction free. Yeah. That I cannot emphasize that enough. You have got to concentrate on that manuscript.
The drafting is fine, but the revisions are
okay.
Big. Okay, so
let's move on to
fourth point.
Peer review.
Peer review. Okay, so we talk about this legitimately all the time. Okay, this is so important. When you're working on either your manuscript or your game, get people who are in the same industry as you, if it's the RPG Maker community or other writers or whatnot, to review your work. Have them look at it. I'm not talking about YouTubers who are going to play it and put it on YouTube. I'm not talking about Twitch streamers like us and others. Give it to people who are other creatives in the exact same industry.
Right. Let them review it. Yeah. Let them give you their critical feedback. Believe me, in the writers groups that we're a part of, we love our groups because they tear it apart.
They do.
It's great, and it hurts.
It does.
But it is wonderful what you get out of that.
I have been honored to have been a part of a writing peer group. We called ourselves Armageddon, Team Armageddon.
Armageddon.
And they tore apart every manuscript I've ever given them. 3 of them have gotten published through them. And I love those people to death. And let me tell you, you need to work right now on getting a core group of people in your industry, whether they be other RPG Maker devs, Unreal devs, writers, it doesn't matter. Get all of those people 5. Just get 5 others. 5 others who you all can agree that you all will look at each other's works and really analyze the hell out of it. And you're absolutely right, Burke. Yes, we destroy each other's worlds. You nailed it, sir. But get that. Your career and your abilities will skyrocket if you have, because they're going to learn you after a while. They're going to learn your style of game creation or writing. They're going to learn your temperament. They're going to learn how you think. And they're going to get better and better and better at analyzing your work.
That's right.
Trust us. It's the greatest thing you'll ever do. And then lastly,
create your checklists from your feedback. All the feedback you get from your peer group and from others, from yourself. Write out those checklists. Write out everything that has been pointed out.
Create a list of things you want to do, that you need to do. Okay, character A doesn't work. Rewrite or remove. Character B feels superficial. Give them depth. That kind of thing. And it's going to be a long ass checklist. That's fine. Yeah, Word document's fine.
Word document, notepad,
Scrivener, Scrivener's a great program. That kind of thing. Create that checklist because you're going to go through that sucker. Yeah. And it's going to be exhaustive. I think we pretty much, speaking of exhaustive, I think we much have exhausted this. Let's move on.
Okay.
All right. Revision techniques for manuscripts. So we'll kind of go through this one together because this is what you do, but you do it on me.
I do it on you.
You do it on me. So we can't stress this enough. Read your manuscript aloud. And this is a game manuscript as well.
Oh, yeah.
You'll see it when we get to scripts. Same thing. Read it aloud. Read your work aloud.
Because that helps you to understand, how does this sound? How does it sound in somebody else's head?
Without fail, how something sounds to you in your head and how it's going to sound to someone else is completely different.
Yep, it is.
So read it out loud. That'll give you a great idea of how it sounds to other people.
Right.
It will also help you fix all those annoying errors in your dialogue boxes that YouTubers stumble over. Did I say that?
Yeah, reading it aloud helps you to look for those word flows.
Yep.
Your sentence flow and structure, words that don't work, that sort of thing. Reading it aloud actually really helps you.
It fixes a lot of problems.
You'll also find, I didn't put a TO here.
Yeah.
I'm missing some prepositions. Yeah.
And yes, that's not revisions, that's grammar, but you're going to catch both here.
It's line editing.
Yeah. Okay, so Berkeley, BG says, I break into critical bugs, need revisions, wish to add. Okay, that's good. Yeah, categorization's fine. I would do it. Caught you back, Chaos, so you're good there. So BG's great on his checklists. Berkeley says, if you were the reviewer, get ready to have to take manuscripts from more than one type of paper. Yes, napkins.
Napkins and Post-its.
Yeah.
I've used Post-its.
Yeah, I haven't used napkins, but I've used
Post-its before.
That tack board of Post-its is my best friend.
Yeah.
Wait until you read a scene and then go, this is bad. Who wrote this? Yes. And you realize what you're saying. BG, I feel attacked very much so by that very relatable scenario. So here's the next part. This is, we're getting into the meat of what it is. This is revision right here. You're reading aloud, and now you're going to consider each sentence. Every single sentence in your manuscript as if you were a reader, which means you got to pull yourself away from the writing. That's one of the reasons why you take a month or so between drafting and revising.
Right.
And you consider that sentence as a reader. What does that sentence mean? What does that sentence do? How does it make you feel? What does it make you want to know more about? What information does it give you that you can infer from later? Does it leave you with an annoying question, or does it leave you with a curious question? An annoying question is, well, why did that happen? That's annoying me.
Yeah.
A curious question is, why is that happening? I want to know more. So you got to do that. And you have to do that for, and I am not kidding you guys, every sentence in your manuscript.
Yes. That's why it takes so long.
Steele hates revising. He has to, but he hates it. Add minimally. Only add when needed. Only trust me, you're going to have so much already there from your draft. Don't think, I need to add more. No, don't. Trust me.
Yeah.
Add minimally, only when needed, and less is always more.
Yeah, if you can say what you want to say in less words, in less time, then that's much better. You get more quality out of it.
Hello, human. Welcome to the stream. And yes, I am dead serious.
Yes, every sentence.
Every
yes, human.
sentence.
Every sentence.
When I write my manuscripts, they're generally between 120 and 150,000 words, and it's every freaking sentence. But that's the work. That's why we say revisions are the work, and that's actually the key. That right here, highlight this sentence right here. This is the most important thing you're ever going to learn.
Yeah.
And then lastly, be ready to cut.
Yeah.
Get rid of it. You're gonna cut into the bone of your manuscript. It's painful.
You're gonna cut it, and you're gonna cut it some more,
and then you're gonna like it, because
and then it's gonna get good.
It's gonna get good. It's gonna get good. So now we've talked about manuscripts. So let's flip over to scripts, specifically game scripts, but this would work for screenplays as well.
Exactly.
All right. Again, read the script aloud. You need to do it. Read it aloud. And consider each sentence as the viewer and the player. Oh, okay. I will go over how important that is after Teal reads that.
Okay, Booba Hotep's entrance. Kicks in the door. Ha! Boom, baby! Scoops up Teal like a prince. Does his princess. Let's get this party started right. Tosses Teal into a pit of jello. Now! 2 dump trucks back up to the edge of the pit and dump a payload of candy and chocolate into the pit. I don't know. That might have been a bit too much. Nonsense.
And that's how my wife died of a sugar overdose.
Oh, gosh. Right in time for Halloween.
Yes, exactly. Exactly, human. Yes, not a single sentence wasted. They all did something to move Teal and her sugar crash forward.
That's right.
Okay, so...
let's get back to revision techniques for our game scripts.
Yes. She just got new teeth, you monster. Love you to death, Hawk. Oh, that was brilliant. So Human says, I'm impressed by the grid of writers. It's amazing. It's also a lot of work, and it's the reason why writers have sleep problems. You know why coffee's our best friend. So Burke then says, consider as the reader and player so underrated. You may know the big twist is coming, but the delivery is boring. Then the player and readers look at the experience before they reach that point. Berkelios 100%.
That is right on target, Burke.
Yeah, Jello pool. Wrath, there was a Jello joke going on Thursday. In fact, Joe's Jello fight on stream.
Oh, there was a huge Jello pit, and we were Jello wrestling. So yeah, that's where that came from.
But back to this. Okay, so consider each sentence in your game script as a viewer or player. And that's very important because, as Burke said, you want to look at it as if you have absolutely zero idea what's going to happen the next time you click a button or move your character forward. You have to. And that's why, after you finish that alpha, take a step back, let it percolate, put it away for a month and go work on something else. Just anything. And then look at it with a fresh pair of eyes, especially after your peer reviewers have looked at it. And consider each thing that happens, dialogue that one character says to another. What does that accomplish? A moment in which an ambush occurs. Why is the ambush happening, and what does it do? And how do the different characters react to it? And are their reactions realistic? And what do the reactions say about the characters and their motivations, both the motivations they're showing and their real motivations? And I'm going on and on and on and on and on and on and on. And this is the reason why we're not putting a list of things to consider, because that list would take about an hour to go over. But you got to think about all that. I killed Teal, by the way. Her head's low to the side and her tongue is sticking out.
Oh, Steel, so many words. See, I'm gonna go and cut through Steel's dialogue.
Okay, revise what I just said.
All right. You're going to slowly read the script aloud, considering how the player viewer is going to react to it. You only add minimally when needed. What you really want to be looking at if you're going to add something is emphasis on your stage direction. Whereas, okay, are they coming in? Are they walking? Are they running? Are they coming in from the right or left? You want to use visual and oral cues to tell your story. Okay, emphasize the visual, emphasize the oral. And that is how you use the written word to show, not tell. And as always, be ready to cut, because you're going to be taking a knife and cutting this, slicing it all up, beautiful dripping red all over the page. And that's just how it is.
Yeah, there's a reason they call it red inking it or red lining it.
Yep.
Yeah, add minimal when needed, emphasis on stage direction. Let me talk about that in visual.
Yeah,
we'll move on.
why don't you talk about the stage direction?
So, when you're developing a game script or a television script or movie script, you're not just talking about words on a page. There's also going to be something the actors and actresses or characters are going to do. So, when you are adding, think more about the direction, more about what's going to physically happen on the game screen. We'll just use game screen for now.
Right.
So when you're adding, don't just think about adding the words. How can the characters show you what's about to happen? My God, Jim, it's a dining room, as opposed to going up to the dining room table and touching it. Or, this monster has blue feathers. Why say that when you can show the blue feathers? I know these are just trite examples, but it's to give you an idea of use that stage direction. Great example. What game is it that we're currently playing where people don't react? Oh yes, Dragon Quest XI.
Dragon Quest XI.
With the Luminary and his resting derp face. Mm-hmm. So instead of having the Luminary have a resting derp face, have him react to things. Chrono Trigger. Those characters react, and it's a 2D game back from the 90s. So think about that stage direction. Now, visual and aural. Use what your player can see. Have a flower bloom, and maybe that's to draw their attention. Maybe a person looks over to the side and sees a sparkle while someone else is trying to talk. I remember in an Eternal Sonata, while they're having a confrontation with the Pirate Queen, one of the characters is scooting off to the side and then grabs her hat, the Pirate Queen's hat.
Right.
Aural, using music, sound effects. A loud knocking at the door off to the side by itself, interrupting a conversation, is going to do so much more than someone off screen saying, "Hey, you!"
Right.
So much more. And then, of course, cut.
Lots of cutting.
Let's catch up on here. Life as a writer is good. Life as the editor. No needs to be revised. No my life work wasted. Well, if it's a smart chaos, if it is a mature writer who takes their craft seriously, they're going to be grateful for everything the editor cuts.
Yeah.
After they stop hating the editor. True story. Still your babies. Derp, silent protagonist. Better to review your work now than be memed for eternity. 100% truth.
Oh, you're right.
Right.
I mean, there's books that are published that seriously needed to have a dev editor to it.
They seriously did.
Because they're little more than just published fanfic.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to pick on self-publishing, because that's not the only time that I have seen bad writing come out. People who have actually been published by publishers. I'm looking at you, Twilight.
Yeah. Stephanie Myers.
Just you need to have a good dev edit to have a really good story. Because we rip on Twilight, ha ha ha, but it really could have been a good story. It really could have been if it had gone through a true editing process.
Yeah. What the hell is a whisper yell? I still haven't figured that out.
I don't know.
But seriously, Teal's right. Teal's 100% right. In every pile of crap is a good story.
Yes, there is.
The revisions and the dev editing, that's what pulls out the good story out of the pile of crap. Let's move on. So,
the pitfalls.
Here's some pitfalls to avoid. Here's the big one. This is the first one. I'm looking at every single person in chat, every single person in the RPG Maker community, every single person in the indie dev writing. If you are a creative, I'm looking at you. Do not fall in love with your work.
Yeah.
Don't do it. That is the death knell. Love your work. Your work is your baby. Your work is your heart. But don't fall in love with it. Because the moment you fall in love with your work, you're not going to want to fix it.
No, you're not.
You're not going to want to change it. And even if you I'm a mature person, I can easily distance myself and change my work. No.
No, you can't.
If you're in love with your work, you will be biased to changing the things that need to be changed.
Right.
It is you can love the product later. You can hate the product later. I know a lot of writers who hate their shit.
And how do you know you've fallen in love with your work? When you defend your work against criticism, when you're constantly trying to correct your critics, when you're trying to clarify, that means you have fallen in love with your own work.
Yeah.
You're not listening.
When you are more interested in how you can change the perceptions of those around you to where they'll agree that things are working than actually fixing it, you're in love with your work.
Yeah.
At that point, you either need to walk away from your project or you need to get a serious attitude adjustment. That's good. Always ready to cut it. Good. Keep it up. It hurts. I've had to cut some things that are just downright painful, but in the end, it's been better. The next one.
Laziness.
And do not ever confuse laziness with procrastination. Writers, like game developers and writers, are the most procrastination-prone people ever. And if Hawk is still in the chat, I know he'll be like, yep, this is true. I feel personally attacked, but it's the truth. Because it's true. I am a massive procrastinator. I'm terrible at it. But it's not laziness. There's a difference. Putting something off until you have to rush because you was a stupid is not the same as, if I change these sentences here and add in another scene there with some dialogue and exposition, that'll be enough.
Right.
That's laziness. That's not the same as procrastinating. Trust me.
Right.
Burnout is real. Side projects tend to help. Yeah, there was a GDC talk, and please do side projects, like all the side projects.
Yes.
Like seriously. When I used to write exclusively and didn't do anything in the game dev industry, I would do some little side stories, little side scenes, little unrelated to the main project at all. And same thing with game dev. I'd make open up a little game project that I'm never going to go anywhere with, but I did something else. Side projects are the single best way, in my opinion, to get rid of writer's block.
Right.
Then there's another one, and this third one is super important. I'll let Teal, I'll let you jump in after this, but I got to talk about this one. Do not have the fear of rewriting everything. Okay, if you are not, and I have said this before, if you are not ready to throw away your entire manuscript or game script and start over from scratch, you are not ready to be a writer or a game developer. You have to say, there's that nuclear option button off to the side, just in case. And you have to be willing to slam that button when it's time, if it's time. Don't let it be afraid, because you will always do better. No words are ever wasted. I can promise you that, as someone who has been doing this for a while. No words are wasted. Even if you nuke your manuscript and start over, you've learned those words aren't wasted.
Right.
Yeah. No, you have to look, otherwise you can't under and overdo it. Take responsibility for the murder you're about to commit.
Yeah.
But hit that button when you need to. Okay, so anything you want to add to rewriting everything?
No, I just wanted to go forward and address fear. Because we have fear of rewriting, fear of making it worse, fear of your story not working. Yes, there is fear. You're going to feel fear.
Oh, yeah.
Because this is something you care about. This is something you're putting work into and your love into. But don't let that fear take over. Face it. Make the cuts. Make the changes. Yeah. If you have to just make a cut and then walk away for an hour, drink a Monster, then come back and make another cut. Whatever it takes.
Yeah.
But do not let the fear rule you, because that fear will paralyze you, and then you won't go forward. You won't move forward with having a good product.
Yeah. Chaos brings up a good point. Fear and laziness are real problems.
They are.
They are. As well as thinking too highly of your work. No one's work is above a revision. Valborn says some writings are rushed, and you can tell, maybe because they have a fixed deadline to meet. Deadlines are a real problem.
Deadlines, yeah.
They are a huge problem.
And that's what comes under project management.
Yes, which we had a classroom on.
We did have a classroom on project management. Please refer back to that.
Yep. Final Fantasy 15 is a fantastic example. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. Backups help with the issues. Yeah. Okay. So, Human has a question. Question on side projects. Should creative types be constantly making stuff so they keep growing and don't stagnate? Or does it make sense to slowly step away from the work and not do side projects at all? I'll answer that question, Human, with a quote that was given to me by one of my mentors. If you want to be a writer, you have to write every day. If you want to be a game developer, you have to game dev every day. So yeah. If you want to do it, you do it every day. A creative has to create something, even if it's a little something, every single day, because skills atrophy. They absolutely do.
Yes, they do.
I took a break from writing to deal with things, and sitting back down to write again is very difficult, and I have to get myself back into it. And I've published 3 books, so yeah, I'm not immune. No one's immune. So yeah, every day. So unfortunately, Human, yes, you always have to work at it. My only fear is cutting makes readers harder to understand my story, but in fact, I figure readers are more clever. Thank you, Ronald. Yes, readers are so much more clever than you give them credit for. And that's anyone, that's not just you. Readers are very clever people. They will figure it out if you give them the tools.
That's right.
Let's see, focus is important, so they make them work or rush it. 3 books, what are they called? I don't dox myself, but Hawks read them, so he can vouch that they exist. Got to get myself back into making a game. Wait, FF15 failed because it never self-contained experience. There's a lot of reasons why FF15 failed. Moving on. So, yeah, don't be afraid. Also, so the last 2 points, if I may quickly.
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
You're never going to make it worse by revising.
No, you're not going to make it worse. No, you can't make it worse than your very first draft.
So don't be afraid that revising it's going to make it worse. It'll always be better or lateral. Fear of your story not working, that's a silly fear. If you put your work into it, if you've learned the writing craft, if you've learned the skill set, your story's going to work. And if you ever get to the point where it doesn't, that's when you walk away.
Yeah.
All right, move it on.
Okay.
Oh my God, we're done. Slime has the coffee. That's where the coffee went.
That's where all the coffee went.
Your buddy has it. Right. So this is the last few minutes for questions. We'll take about 5 minutes to field any questions. Yeah. And then we'll go ahead and go to BRB for about a minute, and Teal will come up and do her thing.
Draft 1 of Harry Potter, like anybody else's draft 1.
Yeah,
it was probably crap.
Steaming pile of crap. Hey, true story, guys. Rowling never would have been discovered if I think it was the granddaughter of the editor who ended up picking her up, editor or agent, one of the two. She read the manuscript and loved it and convinced her grandfather, I believe grandfather, to read it.
Right.
And if that had
I remember that story. I don't remember the details.
Right. BYT instead of Wi-Fi earphones are breaking. Oh shit, are we screaming too loud? I'm sorry, Ronald. We have good levels on our mics. See, it's only yellow. I need to focus. Help me write. Any tips forcing on writing? Well, don't force writing, Chaos. If you mean focusing on writing, a distraction-free environment. What we talked about.
We've talked about getting rid of all those distractions.
Physical, visual, oral. Get rid of them.
Yeah.
Have a clean space, a clean workspace, where you don't have like toys everywhere. I'm not saying you would have toys, but like
piles of paper,
Manca,
dirty dishes, empty cans of soda. Clean all that up.
Don't watch anime or TV. Don't have Netflix on. Music is fine.
Put your phone away. You don't need to be looking on your phone.
Hey, hello, Scrub Barone. And we got a follow. Thank you, Scrub.
All right.
Awesome, man. Thank you. Welcome to Studio Blue.
Yes, and familial.
Children, put them to bed. Yeah, familial. That's what it means, Chaos. Put the kids to bed. Kiss the spouse. And lock yourself in the room. Teal knows that when I'm going to be writing, I give her a big smooch, and then she goes and does one thing, and I write for however many hours I'm going to write. So, yeah. One
of my writer friends, he's successfully published several books, a series of books, and he takes care of his son has Down syndrome. And he takes care of the boy.
Yep.
And when he puts his boy to bed, that's when he writes.
That's right.
And he did not a moment before.
And he has done this for many, many years.
Yes.
And that's his life. His life is he takes care of his son, Wonderful guy, by the way. Both of them are wonderful.
Yes, they are.
And when he puts his son to bed, he goes and he writes for like an hour or two. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Scrub. Well, I'm sorry you're sad. Just kind of chill out over here. We're talking about revising work. You can always go white noise jammer for cell phone signals. You can do that. Put your phone on silence.
Well, put your phone on silent.
Put your phone on silent. Yeah. All right. Any last minute questions? I don't know why Human said carnal, so I'm gonna skip that for safety's sake. And you can also white noise jammer. I already read that. Okay. So last questions. If not, we're gonna go ahead and BRB for like it'll just be literally a minute, and then Teal's gonna come back. Now I gotta warn you guys, this is a really old draft of an old manuscript, so it's gonna be pretty rough.
Yeah, but we're gonna have fun inking it up. So yeah.
All right, so we will BRB, and we will be back in about a minute. Huh?
Yeah.
All right, about a minute. All right, be right back, peeps. And we're back. All right. Take it away, Teal.
Okay. So what I have here is a manuscript. This is a first draft, and I'm going to be tearing it apart.
So for context, it's an urban fantasy. It's based in a universe I've already created, and it's about 5-6 years old. No, closer to 7.
Right.
So, whee!
Oh, Chaos has a question before we jump in. What if you were revising your work in your mind, but still writing your work out?
Well, don't. Oh, okay. I see what he's saying. If you're drafting and in your head you're trying to revise, just focus on the draft. In other words, don't attempt to revise what your brain is telling you to revise while you're drafting. It's okay. My mind does the exact same thing, Chaos. I try to revise while I draft. Just resist the urge to actually do it and draft.
Okay, so here we go. The chapter opens up with a date and a time, and the person who I'm going to assume is going to be the narrator or the focus of this chapter, this Lachlan McAllister person.
And to answer your question, Burke, no, I actually lucked out on that one.
So right now, right away, I'm looking at something that's going to be like a procedural.
Okay.
Because it seems that date and time is very, very important.
Full disclosure, this may be a while, so just to let you guys know, if this takes 30 minutes, it takes 30 minutes. It takes an hour, it takes an hour. We're going to follow Teal on this process. I will not interrupt you again, honey. Go for it.
Although there were many things Lachlan loved about being a Geist operative, hunting ghosts was not one of them. It wasn't that they were particularly difficult to get rid of, just contain them and then either send them on or destroy them. No, what he hated was that he was technically harming another human being. And as necessary as it was, since malicious, feral ghosts could be just as, if not deadlier than malevolent living spirits, it felt like one step away from murder. Okay, so already I've got a problem with a very cumbersome opening. I get that we're talking about Lachlan, because Lachlan McAllister, okay, this is Lachlan. Okay.
Welcome to the stream, Kane.
This first sentence does grab me. Okay, so he's a Geist operative. Okay, I get that. He doesn't like hunting ghosts, though. Okay, so my question is, well, okay, so if he's... What is this Geist? Maybe Geist is ghost hunters or some kind of supernatural thing? I don't know what Geist is. Geist has not been spelled out. I have no idea. Hopefully, the rest of the paragraph would tell me what Geist was, or maybe this. But so far, I'm not seeing it. But it's a good opening sentence, nonetheless. Okay, so the next sentence leads from the first one. Hunting ghosts was not one of them. Okay, so second sentence. It wasn't that they were particularly difficult to get rid of. Okay, so what is it? It wasn't that they were particularly difficult to get rid of. Okay, so that must be one of his reasons among the many things that he liked. It wasn't. Okay, so there's a callback here, and I'm okay with that callback. even though you say the word it. They weren't particularly difficult to get rid of. Okay, just contain them and either send them on or destroy them. There's probably a better way to say this, but I do get the sense of what is trying to be said here. You have a choice. You have to contain them, but then you have a choice. You can send them on or you can destroy them. So now I'm understanding more about this ghost hunting. To hunt ghosts, you have to contain them, and then you have a choice, sending them or destroying them. Okay, so containing them, getting rid of them is not what he hated. No, what he hated was that he was technically harming another human being. Aha! So, in this world, it looks like that ghosts used to be human beings. In fact, ghosts may be the spirit of human beings. And it seems that he doesn't like harming ghosts. No, he was technically harming other human beings. So now I get the sense that Lachlan he's a very empathetic person. He has these ethics or these morals. Harming another human being. Okay, that might be murder. It might be murder to him. So now I'm getting more of a sense of this character of Lachlan. Even though he's called Demon Slayer, he doesn't like hurting ghosts. Now this sentence here is just the biggest cumbersome piece of crap ever. And as necessary as it was, since malicious feral ghosts could be just as, if not deadlier than malevolent living spirits, it felt like one step away from murder. Okay, I understand this sentence here feels like it's necessary to explain technically harming another human being, but damn it, Jim, you could say that much more clearly. This sentence. Okay, that was supposed to track changes. Track changes. Control Z. Come on. That was not cool. Track changes. Oh, it's not doing it. Clock tracking maybe? No.
Not accepting it. All markup, yeah. All markup track changes on. That'll do it.
Okay.
Should have a red line go through it now.
I want it.
No.
Okay.
Now, if it doesn't work again.
Okay, then I'm going to just highlight. This is. Okay.
We love you too, Microsoft.
Oh, stupid. Okay. So, yeah, now I have this first paragraph. It's supposed to be setting up the whole chapter and the whole story. And I'm not particularly sure that it's setting up anything except for maybe Lachlan. And maybe that's the intent here, to set up what type of person Lachlan is. We shall see. I'm going to put a pin in this paragraph. Okay?
Comments will work, I know that.
Yeah, I'm going to, let's put a comment here. So go back to view, new comment. Good for care setup, but not for story setup.
Also, just a side note. When Teal is dev editing my manuscripts, she gets a lot more verbose. Verbose, thank you, in those comments. She's being brief for the sake of the stream.
I'm just being quick and dirty here.
Yeah.
Usually I'll have just these big old long comments because I'll put everything in.
True story. Then she makes me read them.
Here's the next paragraph. His partner's voice squawked through his PDA. Lachlan, it's headed your way. I'm right behind it. Her Creole accent was thicker than usual. She must be running. Okay, I don't have a problem with this. It's definitely, it flows very well. It's setting up for the fact that this Lachlan guy has a partner. It's a woman, and she has a Creole accent. So, right away, you get the sense that of what type of person, to what type of partner that he has. Creole accent, so she is from South Louisiana, and she must be running. Okay, so now we've got an action right here. This is where our action sequence is starting. She must be running. So from here on out, I'm going to expect action.
By the way, I have a question for you. Because Wrath mentions the PDA. Reading the PDA, does that help you date this? Reading the word PDA,
yes.
Does that help you date this story?
It's consistent with 1999.
Yep.
The technology is consistent with the year.
There it is. So to answer your question, Wrath, yeah, PDA, it actually it matches up. Graceless, we love you too. Welcome to the stream. Please enjoy Teal destroying one of my old manuscripts.
From where he perched atop the cross of the martyrs, the moonlight reflected off the thick Santa Fe dust, obscuring his vision. But he didn't need to see the ghost to know it was coming. He could feel it as plain as the whiskers of his goatee. Okay. Someone's trying too hard to insert description of his character into the narrative. So, yeah, you're trying too hard here. So, action. He perched atop. That's an action verb. So good. We're continuing with the action. The moonlight reflected off the thick Santa Fe dust, obscuring his vision. Okay. I have a problem with just plunking down a city name like that, because not everybody is going to know where Santa Fe is. You may have international readers.
You might.
So, Santa Fe dust. I wouldn't put Santa Fe dust. Again, you're trying to cram too much into sentences. At this point, it doesn't matter where they are. The focus is supposed to be on what he's doing at that moment.
Yeah, Wrath, thank you. No, this and game dev are my two main passions in life. Teal aside.
Okay. So, I really, really wish that we had the red line mark up here. I'm a little annoyed about that.
I understand. We don't.
Okay. So, get rid of Santa Fe. Moonlight reflected off the thick dust, obscuring his vision. Yeah. But he didn't need to see the ghost to know it was coming. Okay. And so I would actually strike this sentence here. He didn't need to see the ghost to know it was coming. We can infer that he can feel it. If you can't see it, you can feel it. Okay.
Since you can go ahead and right click on stuff, why don't you just, any sentence you would strike, or any word you would strike, just highlight it in like red. Just right click on it.
Okay.
And just see the little, that's the text. Oh, you do that too. You can do that too. There you go. Boom, cut. So you can cut that and you can cut Santa Fe. There you go.
Yeah, this is a workaround.
That's hilarious, Wrath.
What'd Wrath say?
He says, I didn't know Santa Cruz was a place as a kid, and I thought it was Santa Claus cruising.
Exactly. So, okay, now we have this next paragraph is simply a dialogue. Lachlan, are you in position? Okay, you don't need to say, and I like this a lot. You don't need to say, his partner said, his partner asked,
Right.
Because we've already introduced the partner. So this is good. You're keeping the flow of the action because this is an action sequence going with just saying, Lachlan, are you in position? Next paragraph. He closed his eyes and gently squeezed the PDA, his leather fingerless gloves crunching softly. This wasn't like chasing demons and other things that go bump in the night. This Bogart was once a person. He couldn't enjoy this hunt. Okay, this is the explanation we needed for up here. See this? No, what he hated was that he was technically harming another human being. Here is the explanation. I would actually move this two sentences and put it right up here.
Very cool.
That's what I would do.
Very cool. So in this case, you would make a comment and tell me to move that, right?
Yes.
And Kane Reveal, this is amazing. Kane Reveal says, always happy to hear how to improve my writing. Steel and Teal are a godsend in the RPG Maker community. Kane, that means so much to us. Thank you. That warms our hearts. So thank you.
Move this to pair 1 in. Got it.
You got it. All right.
Okay. Okay, so what you're left now is with him closing his eyes and gently squeezing his PDA. Okay. We may or may not keep this. This is why I'm going to do a second revision after this. I may actually end up dumping this sentence.
Yeah.
But now she says, Lachlan, answer me. Okay. With a sigh, he pressed the talk button. This is an unsecured channel, love. Supposed to use the call signs. Okay. So now we get a way of speaking, a cadence of speaking with this Lachlan. He's got an Irish name and he's saying love. So he is a working class Irish guy. Psh, I hate those things. Fine, Demon Slayer, are you ready to slay something? Because it'll be at your position in about 15 seconds. Or is this too much for your skinny Irish ass to handle? Okay, so again, good, we're consistent. We know, it's confirmed, he is Irish. His partner thinks that he's skinny, so his build is probably on the very slender side. We get a sense of his partner through her way of speaking, her voice. We know that she's Creole. We also know that she hates formalities. She doesn't care about formalities. Okay? So now I'm going to be expecting her to be very direct, blunt, and I'll just say direct and blunt. Ha! He loved her attitude. It was undeniably sexy. That's 14 seconds more than I need. Fair enough. I'll keep that. So already he's thinking, you get the idea that he likes his partner, like maybe a little more than he normally should. All right. Standing, the wind blowing through his black trench coat and long ponytail, he clapped his hands together. In a quick motion, he sliced his thumbs over the razor-sharp crescent moon charm dangling around his neck. His blood started dripping at once, and as he rubbed it into his fingerless, palmless gloves, he said, something, whatever. It's probably Irish Gaelic. My God!
Told you it was old.
Wow.
I got better.
Yeah. This is very juvenile. Wow.
I'm blushing reading this. I'm like, God, I actually wrote that.
Yeah. So, comment. Very juvenile. Please fix.
I wrote one thing once, and Teal read it, and she came into the room and go, "Are you writing YA?" And I went, "No,"
because this sounds like YA.
She handed me the manuscript and said, "Rewrite this." Like shit.
Okay. You don't need to say at once. Okay, his blood started dripping. Okay. At once is very redundant. His blood started dripping. And as he rubbed it into his fingerless, palmless gloves. Okay, you've already said that he has fingerless gloves.
Yeah.
So you don't need to say that again. He's rubbing it into his gloves. Not his fingers. Not his actual fingers, his skin, but he's rubbing it onto his gloves. And as he rubbed it into his gloves, he said this stuff. Okay. And I don't mind that. I don't mind it being Irish Gaelic. I don't mind that a bit at this point because it's obvious that he's doing some kind of spell or incantation.
Wrath says, trench coats and PDAs. Oh, yeah. We got any more 90s. We be playing Vampire the Masquerade.
And you're so right. And my assumption as the reader is borne out by the very next sentence. As he chanted the incantation, his voice progressively reverberating, the drops of blood soaked into the leather, which heated up. On the backs of each one, a sigil appeared, glowing a bright red. The cost of blood and ritual had been made, the spell had been cast. Okay. So, I'd like to know, I think I would like to see this a little bit more condensed because what we have here is, believe it or not, a bit of a slowing down of the action because you're slowing down the action a bit to tell this. This is action. As he chanted this incantation, his voice possibly progressively reverberating. Okay, you have the drops of blood soaking into the leather. Okay, now what heated up? Which heated up? Okay, did the leather heat up or did the blood drops heat up? Mm-hmm. I'd like to know what heated up. So what heated up here?
Right.
What heated up?
To answer your question, Wrath, yes.
On the backs of each one glove, a sigil appeared glowing a bright red. Why can't we just say a bright red sigil appeared?
Ooh.
So we could probably condense that.
Yeah.
I'm going to go here and just highlight. Okay. The cost of blood and the spell had been cast. Well, we know that. We know the spell had been cast, and we don't need to talk about the blood, the cost of blood and ritual, because you can actually mention that elsewhere and not break up the action with this. So I'm going to go back to review, comment, say this elsewhere, not in the middle of an action sequence. Okay.
And already you guys are seeing that Teal's chopping this up, and Teal is going, I would say you're not hitting every single beat, you're hitting most of them.
Most of them.
Because obviously for time, but you notice no paragraph has gone untouched, and that's what you do as a dev editor. This is one of Teal's quote unquote jobs, and this is what she does for me, and this is what a good dev editor should do.
So this is totally being deleted.
Right.
You don't need this. Okay. He smirked. Showtime. Okay. But adding some more character development here. He has the flair for the dramatic. And so this is very succinct. I like this. It shows that he is the consummate showman. Maybe he has some bravado too. Haha, very confident. Yeah. He smirked. Showtime. Alright, I expect more action and I'm getting it. Jumping off the cross, he landed on the stairway railing and grinded down, his magically protected boots shooting sparks behind him. Still grinning cockily, he closed his eyes and felt for the ghost. It was less than 20 yards away.
So embarrassed.
All right. Well,
I do this for you guys.
this is, oh God, this is basically shitty from start to finish. Except for it was less than 20 yards away.
I'm gonna go
That's
drink.
okay.
I'm gonna get a drink. I need a drink for this.
Okay. So, what we have here is...
One of your hard ciders?
Go ahead, get a hard cider. Okay. Less wordy. Choose better words to show how he is getting off the cross and to the ghost.
Hey, video. Welcome to the stream.
Because honestly, where in the world did you ever say there was a stairway? You didn't.
I didn't.
You just said he was standing on top of some cross.
Right.
So, jumping off the cross, okay, he landed lightly to the ground and then ran towards the ghost, okay? You never ever said there was stairs. You never described that. And grinded down, that's just bad.
Yeah, may I toss this in here so that you all can understand from my end here. So, first off, I assumed that people would automatically know what the Cross of the Martyrs is just by seeing the word the Cross of the Martyrs. That was one of my first mistakes. My second is, in my mind, him perching on top the Cross of Martyrs like a 90s LARP role player, and then jumping onto the railing, which is there because that's what's at that location, and grinding down like he's Tony fucking Hawk on steel-toed boots. It looked a lot better in my head.
Yeah.
And that is a huge issue. You have in your head, it's gonna look like this. And then it just hit the editor, and the editor went, no, it looks like dumb.
Yeah, it looks silly, like it's a script for a cartoon. Okay.
My poor mind can't listen to the story. It's harmful to read this story. Well, chaos. Yeah, that's
the whole point.
That's the whole point.
We're taking a first draft, and I'm making my first pass-through revision.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what this is going to look like. This is any of your stories.
Yeah. I am not above sharing this with you guys because I've learned to trust and love you guys. This just shows that every single one of us are like this. You know, it's all good. And thank you, human. Yes, we sacrificing me for you guys. So,
I have to question how he's able to still grin cockily when he's doing a lot of heavy physical movement. How can you grin cockily when you jump and hoof, 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 hoof? You can't. It is physically impossible to do this.
And yes, Wrath, this would look badass in widescreen.
Physically impossible to do right now.
Hey, Booba Hotep, send me that one over DM. I'll put it on the quote list.
Okay. But yes, he closed his eyes and felt for the ghost. Okay. So that means that, yeah, this whole action sequence doesn't even work because to me, closing your eyes and feeling for the ghost, you're kind of standing still. How can you? It's difficult to feel for something if you're moving, but maybe it's not. But we're gonna have to have some more exposition here because I personally don't see how he can close his eyes and feel for the ghost and still be running. But it was less than 20 yards away. Good job. Hey, his partner yells out, "Lachlan, watch out!" 15 yards away, he picked up speed. I see you, Lachlan. Slow down. 10 yards away. He held out his arms, the sigils in the back of his gloves burning like fire. What a glorious feeling.
Oh, shit.
Woo!
I've gotten better, I promise.
Yeah. Give me this. Yeah. Alright. Lachlan, stop! 5 yards away. And then the ghost was gone.
Hee.
With a start, he opened his eyes. So his eyes, yep. Good. He kept his eyes closed. Okay, closing his eyes, he's running, closing his eyes, feeling, okay, I get that. And then he opened his eyes. Good. There's some consistency here. That's a good start. Consistency.
I can do it sometimes.
With a start, he opened his eyes just in time to see his partner right before him. She shielded her masked face as he collided with her at high speed. They tumbled together, landing in the parking lot at the base of the steps. Okay. So, great. Again, we need to have a better understanding of the layout of this area. I had no idea they were in a parking lot. Still no idea they had steps. So yeah, there's definitely needs to be an attempt at describe the layout of the area well before now.
Right, and I do want to say that is a challenge that'll come during revisions, because again, I can't assume that people will know the layout of the Cross of the Martyrs.
Right.
Ergo, I have to describe it through exhibition, show not tell.
And let me tell you something.
But I have to do it before the action starts.
Cross of Martyrs could be a made-up place. A lot of people don't know that it's a real place.
Right.
So, you know, when I read Cross of Martyrs, I thought, oh, it's just some made-up place.
Right.
Okay. So, this is great. He opened his eyes. Oh boy, he careened right into him. Okay. Her. We know that she has a masked face. Interesting. So this Creole woman, who is a very direct individual, is wearing a mask. Interesting. He came to rest on top of her, pressing into her form-fitting indigo bodysuit, his red ponytail resting alongside the side of her head. From the other side of her ceramic skull mask, he could see that her eyes were closed. Wow, I'm getting a sex feeling right here.
Maybe.
Wow, that's it. Yeah, uh-huh.
Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. And chaos, yeah, it could be aura, spirit sense, exactly. How? Who knows?
We don't know.
I didn't write it.
So,
I'm working on short stories for game and comics. I feel like everything I've written is too simple. I feel like I should give everybody access to my earlier stories because, hey, share your earlier stuff. I did it.
Okay. From the other side of her ceramic skull mask, he could see that her eyes were closed. There's better ways to say that.
Yeah.
There's better ways to say that.
There are.
Say this better. Because the point you're trying to get across is that her eyes are closed. He ran into her, they fell down, and her eyes are closed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Shit, maybe she hit her head.
Tee-hee.
Okay, next paragraph. Shit, he said, removing the mask and gently patting her beautiful dark skin. Tanya, wake up, love. By the goddess, she was lovely.
That's not appropriate. Sorry, I had to say that. I will not. You can get it. Have a storyboard. Wow, that's awesome, Wrath.
Yeah. Okay, so now we know a little bit more about his partner. She's Creole from South Louisiana, and she's dark-skinned. And her name is Tanya. Great. And she wears a mask. Okay, so this is the way he's talking is totally in character with what we've got with him being a working class Irishman. Shit, wake up, love. Okay, by the goddess, she was lovely. I'm not sure that belongs in there or not. I'm going to highlight it so that we can revisit that. Not sure we really need that.
Thank you so much for the follow. Why not this username? That is a fantastic name. Welcome to Studio Blue. My wife Teal is currently ripping apart one of my old manuscripts. Well, chapter 1.
Okay. Next paragraph, keeping the action going, because he collided right into her. They fell down, him on top of her, knocked her. He may have knocked her out. We're not sure. But he keeping the action going. He removes the mask, pats her skin. Wake up, he says. Okay. Her steel blue eyes fluttered open and she stared at him. Then she went shh and headbutted him. Get off me, you ass. By the goddess, she was feisty. Okay, so now we know more about how she looks. Creole woman, dark skin, steel blue eyes. It's unusual. This is an unusual coloring for a Creole lady. Just letting you know.
I know.
Okay, so right there, either that's a mistake or this is intentional, and there is something very different about Tanya. Okay, her headbutting him, saying get off me, very much in character with what I've learned about this Tanya so far. Being a very blunt, direct person. Okay, this is silly and needs to be removed right there. Just utterly, completely silly.
And
bye-bye.
I can give you guys this. At the time, I thought I was really clever having the first paragraph say, by the goddess she was lovely, and the second one saying, by the goddess she was feisty. And I patted myself on the back as I toddled downstairs to get a Dr. Pepper. Shows me. Shows what I know.
Okay, so she headbutts him, and he falls back. As he fell to his butt, she snatched her mask back. Idiot! I tried to tell you. He sensed your magic the moment you cast your spell and faded away. There's no telling where he's gone now. Okay. As he fell to his butt, I don't know, as he fell back, we might want to revisit this, because if he falls back, we're going to assume that he falls somewhere on his posterior. But is it truly necessary for us to say to his butt? Not sure yet. I'll put a pin in this. Let me hang on. Comment.
Yeah, exactly, Burke. Yeah, being silly derails everything. So your get on with it is actually well placed. And Wrath is correct. It would work in a song. Would not work in dialogue or narrative, for that matter.
Okay. So she snatched her mask back. All right. So
I will cut a motherfucker for Dr.
So
Pepper.
she didn't like him taking her mask off.
Nope.
Okay. Idiot, I tried to tell you. He sensed your magic the moment you cast your spell and faded away. All right.
Oh, if you're heading out, human. If you're heading out, human, thank you so much for stopping by. You're always welcome here. Please try to catch the rest on VOD if you can. Lots of love. See you next time if you're around. Please continue, honey.
Okay. So the faded away, what is that referring to? Did you cast your spell and you faded away?
Yeah. Well, yes, you did. Have a good one, human.
That's a bad placement of and faded away. He sensed your magic the moment you cast your spell and you faded away. Nope.
Fading away.
So move this action phrase to modify the correct subject. The ghost.
Booba Hotep, yeah. You can place the link here. You can also put it in Discord under Studio Blue Chat and just reference what you're talking about in relation to the stream. Or work in progress. Whip will also work. It's probably where it should go. Go ahead.
Okay, so she snatches her mask back and she fusses at him.
Fuss.
Okay. But even as she said that, he felt the ghost start to reform right underneath them. Tanya, scatter! He rolled to the side and she followed. They were several yards away when the ghost flew from the ground. It was male, bloated, semi-opaque, and covered in rope. A noose was around his neck. Okay. So what we've got here, I need something to drink.
Okay.
what we've got here is actually a very good start at having a fall in action, a rest point, and then their action coming back again. So you had action, run, action, and then a respite from the action, and then action again, right here. The intense action is starting again because the ghost is reforming. That ghost is coming back. He felt the ghost start to perform right underneath him. Tanya scatter. He rolled to the side. She followed. I've got a great sense of what's going on. I got a great visual of how this is unfolding. They were several yards away when the ghost flew up from the ground. You just missed a word there. It flew from the ground, flew up from the ground. It was male bloated, so now we're describing this ghost. This is what it looks like, and that's fine. Because attention was called to this noose, I'm going to want to know why there's a noose around its neck. You specifically called attention to it. You could have left it and covered in rope, but you called attention to this noose. So I better see a noose elsewhere in this chapter.
Chekhov's gun.
Chekhov's gun. Back on his feet, Lachlan assumed a fighting stance, his gloves glowing with magical fire. Pretty strong for a sight bound, eh, love? Okay. So now we understand that this ghost is a special category bound to a particular site, and we get the sense that it's stronger than your average ghost that's considered a sight bound. So already now we understand why these two Geist operatives are here. This is not your standard Ghostbuster type thing. So his gloves are glowing with magical fire. So his gloves never stopped glowing, did they? Once he did that spell, they continued to glow with those sigils. Interesting. I'm going to keep that in mind. His gloves never stopped glowing.
Exactly, Booba Hotep. 90s kids' power of imagination.
She spun around and slipped her mask back on, then pulled out a rod with a skull on the top. She twisted the skull and a short blade slipped out from the bottom of the rod, locking in place. To be that solid, yes, I'd say so. Just remember, our orders are to send him on, or if he goes feral, destroy him. Okay, there's a lot of good intel in that paragraph. First of all, the action continues to be smooth. I can see this unfolding in my mind's eye, and believe me, writing action sequences is more difficult than you think. And this one is actually done very well. So she spun around, put her mask back on, she pulls out a weapon, and gets that weapon ready. Okay, so she's ready to use this weapon. And because it's still on her, the spotlight's still on her, she gets a chance to reply in a dialogue. So she replies to Lachlan's question. To be that solid. Okay, so he says pretty strong. And so she clarifies. Yes. Being that solid is a sign of this ghost strength. Then she clarifies, because they're members of this Geist organization, she reinforces the idea that they are operatives, because she says orders. The word orders. Our orders are to send him on, or if he goes feral, destroy him. So now we know the rest of this is them fighting him, and they got two choices: to send him or to destroy him, on this condition of going feral. Okay, so Lachlan frowns. Destroying any ghost was for him a last resort. Okay, this is the last time you should ever reinforce this. We now know beyond a shadow of a doubt that he hates killing ghosts because they're former people.
Yeah.
I know I've got this handled. Okay. So right here, you see that she's a little worried. She knows that her partner has a problem destroying ghosts. So she's reminding him, okay, put your personal feelings aside here, Haas. These are our orders. We have to follow them. Okay. He's reassuring her. Okay, yes, I know. I'm not going to fuck up. I've got this handled. Okay. The ghost gave a dreadful wail and then rushed at them with his rope cracking like whips. Lachlan's heart pounded from the force of the screech. Gritting his teeth, he forced himself calm. Fear was a ghost's greatest weapon, and without it, they were no more dangerous than any other type of spirit. Okay, we're continuing with the action. Good. We just had a slight lull with the dialogue, but that's okay because that was very, very quick. And we're right back on the action. The ghost is yelling and rushing at them. And you have the added effect of his ropes cracking like whips. Okay. Now, I'm wondering what the noose is doing. We knew he was wrapped in rope. But if he's wrapped in rope and he's got a noose, how is it that his rope is now cracking like whips if he was wrapped in it? So, we're going to have some clarification here. Clarify how rope is now cracking when it was wrapped around him. And where is the noose? Okay.
Cool, Bubba Hotep.
So Lachlan's heart is pounding from the force of screech. Okay. Gritting his teeth, he forced himself to be calm. Okay. And now we know why this is happening, because it's fear. It's a fear power. The ghost has this weapon. It's called fear, and we know that the fear is now their greatest weapon, and this ghost is employing it. So now we know this ghost is pulling out every bit of its arsenal to fight. Now Lachlan is now running towards the ghost. Okay, he forced himself calm and now he's running toward the ghost. He swung several times, his gloves growing brighter with each strike. Okay, so now he's brawling, right? Okay, he swung what? We know that he made his gloves glow, and we know that he knows some magic. So why is he not casting a fireball spell? Interesting. So he's a brawler. Okay. Is he a brawler rather than a mage? Okay. The ghost stopped and floated back in short retreating starts, eyeing him warily. Good continuing of the action. Now the ghost is like, whoa, wait a minute, and starts going backwards. And because the focus of the spotlight was on Lachlan, it makes sense for him to be the one talking next.
Ghost be like, don't punch me with your glowy fists.
Aye, you know these fists aren't good for you, do you, Bogart? Be a pal and let us send you on your way. Okay, good. You've called it a Bogart. Let's look back up here. Interesting. Okay. So, I believe that's the first time that we've seen it. It's called a Bogart.
No. I can verify it as I saw it earlier.
Yeah, and this, of course, I would spend some time making sure that it was called a Bogart earlier, and it was. So we're good there. Be a pal and let us send you on your way. Okay, so this is in keeping with Lachlan being very confident, somewhat cocky. You know, this Irish cock of the walk. So this is, I have no problem with how he's speaking. Now we have the ghost talking for the first time. Vengeance, the ghost howled, whipping with his ropes. Okay. Again, I need to see a connector between the ropes being wrapped around his body and the ropes whipping.
Wrath. Bogart was earlier. Don't Bogart that Bogart. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm just going to highlight that. Okay. Lachlan grabbed them. Okay, he grabbed the ropes, his fingers wrapping around the ghostly mist. The mission briefing had mentioned something about revenge against some murderers, but he didn't remember.
Thank you, Why Not? And thank you for coming by. Thank you for the follow. Glad you enjoyed us. Please join us again anytime you get a chance to. We stream Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday.
He had no head for such details. Your killers died over 100 years ago, mate. With a grunt, he swung the ghost around by his own rope. It's time for you to rest. It was a gamble, but if it paid off, he'd have the ghost where he wanted him. Okay, so there's a lot going on in this paragraph. There's action, and there's a conversational response. So Lachlan grabs the ropes. Apparently, he's able to, even though this is a ghostly ropes, it's not real, he can still grab it. So I would mention that the gloves allows him to do this in some way. Okay, so here I go. Review, comment. Mention that gloves allow this to happen. Okay. So we're going back to the mission briefing. Again, a call back to them being professionals. The mission briefing had mentioned something about revenge against some murderers, but he didn't remember. Okay. Now we get that Lachlan is, he's not detail oriented. He didn't bother to try to commit to memory everything in the mission briefing. And that right there, that bit of carelessness, I'm expecting now to bite him in the ass. You don't, when you're a professional operative like that, from what I've seen in the story and from what I've seen them, dealing with this ghost they say is very strong, him not remembering a detail should bite him in the butt. Yeah, he had no head for such details. Well, yeah. How is it that he's a professional operative if he doesn't remember such details? I want to see more about that. Why is he still on that team if he's so shitty at that? Your killers died over 100 years ago, mate. With a grunt, he swung the ghost around by his own rope. I don't know, it's time for you to rest. It was a gamble, but if it paid off, he'd have the ghost where he wanted him. How is it a gamble? How is it a gamble? Him grabbing the ghost by the ropes and swinging it. I'm not seeing where it's a gamble. Okay. Suddenly the ropes vanished in Lachlan's hands, and he stumbled forward and colliding with the railing. Oomph! The gamble had failed. All right, so there's the gamble, right there. I'll let that go because you immediately explained what the gamble was. Okay, so the ropes vanished, and he stumbled forward. Okay. Oomph! The gamble failed. Vengeance! The ghost was behind him. A moment later, the ropes wrapped around his neck, squeezing like an icy pair of hands so tightly that all he could manage was Tanya help. His gamble had more than failed, it had backfired. Okay, this right here is where I'm seeing the ass biting for not remembering details.
Video, that's okay. So low latency's having issues. I hope it works out. God, I don't know a remorse. Okay, cool. Yeah, Bubba Hotep, I'll look at it some other time when I get a chance to, but it sounds awesome.
So right here is where I see that his inattention to detail is now punishing him, because if he'd read those details, perhaps he wouldn't have done this silly gamble. Perhaps he wouldn't have tried to do what he did. So that's in punctuation, please.
Yeah.
Punctuation.
Uh-huh.
So, okay, we've got it. He fucked up.
He done blew it.
And now that idea of him fucking up is now reinforced with the very next thing his partner says. Must you always take such chances? She started dancing sensually, grinding her hips and bust to a tune only she could hear. Particles of purple energy started pouring from her body like droplets of rain. Mr. Simmons, over here. Okay. It's obvious that she's doing a distraction spell, right? So let's say a little bit more, because this comes out of the blue. I'm like, well, why is she doing the hump and grind right now? I don't really get it.
Humpty Dump.
So let's do a little bit better job of explaining this spell, because this is obviously a spell.
Yeah, she just starts dancing.
Explain spell better, more clearly. Okay. Now we have a name for this ghost. Now we know that it's what we've heard earlier about Bogart's ghosts being people is now true, because she calls him Mr. Simmons. So, ghosts used to be people. Now we're going to be referring to the ghost as Mr. Simmons from now on. See that? I like that. Mr. Simmons let go, and Lachlan jumped back, taking in a deep breath. Her ritual was working, both distracting the ghost and allowing her to summon help. 2 spells at the same time. By the goddess, she was powerful. Stop. Just stop with that. Oh, delete.
Wrath be like, she just starts loud. She just starts now low. What? Why not? Hey, I told you. Early work, it has problems.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a good action sequence here. Okay. He let go. Lachlan jumps back and takes in a deep breath. Okay. This ritual that she's doing, it's now stated that it's working. And it's distracting the ghost, which we got the sense that was what she was trying to do. So she distracted the ghost, and it's allowing her to summon help. 2 spells at the same time. Okay, so let's expand a little bit more on how awesome this is. Expand a bit more on the extraordinary feat this is. Okay.
Yeah, Bubba Hotep, just dance.
Okay. Now she's doing her second spell, obviously. Okay. Blah 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 blah. Her chanting resonated throughout the parking lot.
That's Creole, by the way.
Okay. Now, here's where it gets tricky. I understand that you're going to have a different language when you're doing spell work. But I don't know this is Creole. I don't know what the hell this is. And it's going to take me out of the narrative, because I'm going to see these weird words. I don't know what she's saying. So you're going to need to say somewhere what it is she's saying. Not word for word, obviously, but what is the intent? What is she doing? And you need to say it right here in this paragraph.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what when mare when meat restrict zone so I don't know what that is.
It's funny when you say it. Lol, it's
paraphrase magic. In English. Okay.
Yeah. It's magic.
All right. Mr. Simmons cried out as thick spectral chains broke through the ground and wrapped around him. Vengeance, vengeance, vengeance. His cries became more desperate, his voice deepening with a growl as if he were turning into a wild animal. Okay, right there. This is my cue. Oh my god, he's going feral. Right there. Okay, so we know the spell had to do something with thick spectral chains. But that's not good enough. That is not good enough. You still have to have some sort of paraphrasing here. Or I'm going to stop reading, scratch my head and go, what's this when, where, oh stuff?
Yeah.
Okay.
Breath brings up a good point. At some point, you have to teach the reader new language. That way you could reuse these words. Yeah, if you're not going to use them, they don't serve a purpose.
Yeah.
Well, it is a short story. This is not a short story, Chaos. This is chapter 1 of a novel. This is not a short story.
No,
It's chapter 1. It's an opening act.
Okay. Lachlan rubbed the cold sensation from his neck. Crap, Tanya, he's gonna go feral. Good. Weaken him and I'll start the sending ritual. Good, he's following orders. He's going to do the sending ritual. There was no way he'd lose another ghost to oblivion, not when he had the will, the power to save him. Maybe. I don't have a big problem with this. But I would, no, I want to leave this alone. I'm going to leave this alone because it's fine for now. Understood. Lou, Ursula, Gregory, Kimball. 3 ghosts, 2 men, 1 quite short, and a thin woman with glasses, burst from the ground as well. Okay, now this is good. Lou and Gregory are the men, short men, and Ursula is a thin woman with glasses. With loud moans, they grabbed the chains binding Mr. Simmons and pulled, restraining him until he couldn't move his arms. His ropes flailed so fast they whistled through the air. Interesting. Okay. So this is in keeping with what you've been saying earlier about the ropes whipping like whips, cracking like whips. Okay. So I'm going to start love. Lachlan ripped off his right glove. The cold desert night air nipped at the blackened brand on the back of his hand. He ignored it and sliced open his palm. Then he started moving around Mr. Simmons, forming a large circle with his blood, satisfying the exchange needed for the magic to work. And then blah, 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 more words. More magic words that I don't know what they mean. Okay. So...
Exactly. Well, Chaos, you've now coined a new phrase. LOL, it's magic. Okay.
Okay. So, the cold desert night air nipped at the blackened brand on the back of his hand. Interesting. I'm going to want to know more about that blackened brand later on. So now you've pointed something else out to me. I'm going to want to know more about. Okay. He ignored that feeling and sliced open his palm. With what? A knife? His fingernail? How did he slice open the palm? We don't know. So I'm just going to say how. How? With what? Okay. He started moving around Mr. Simmons, forming a large circle with his blood, satisfying the exchange needed for the magic to work. Okay. Well, that is fine to mention right there, because it's a slight. You're still got action. It's slowed down, but you still have action, and you're not breaking the action by stating this little fact. You're satisfying something in the reader's mind. You're establishing what? How magic works in this world. Magic works with blood. Blood magic. Okay, so he says these magic words. We don't know what they mean. I'd like to know what they mean. Energy began crackling from the ground within the still forming circle, and Mr. Simmons wailed even louder. His eyes widened and his visage started changing to something far more monstrous. Okay, he's going feral. And now we remember what the second directive was. If they go feral, you have to, just basically destroy them. So we're getting to a real tense point here. I feel a lot of tension now, and this is good. We're building up. Lachlan may have to make a horrible choice for him, a moral dilemma choice, and that's good. We're setting up for something very tense. Tanya faltered a second, but then continued to dance. Hannah attack. Okay. So Tanya is getting nervous at this point. This is making her very nervous. And she's a professional operative, so we know this is something unusual happening. Okay, so she says Hannah attack. Another ghost bursts forth from the ground. This one's a small girl with a mouthful of sharp teeth wearing an oversized collar. With a rage-filled howl, she jumped on Mr. Simmons and started tearing with razor-sharp claws, ripping off pieces of him that turned to mist and drifted away. He wailed at her, but she jumped back and landed on the ground, growling like a wild beast, her eyes completely black. Alright, boy, this is a really nasty little ghost that Tanya summoned up. Lachlan paid Hannah little attention. How Tanya had come to bind a feral ghost was something she wouldn't say. Ah.
Yeah, it's going down now, right? Exactly.
So now we have...
Summoned the little girl ghost.
She summoned a little girl, but it's a feral ghost. And his question is the reader's question. How was she able to bind something this wild? Look at what it does to poor Mr. Simmons. So there's a story here, and I'm going to want to know that story. Okay. Instead, he continued to drip his blood up on the ground, and we know this is Lachlan because it starts off. This is Lachlan's paragraph. So he continued to drip his blood on the ground. The circle was nearly complete, and he says more incomprehensible words.
Chaos.
Then Mr. Simmons let out a roar so loud that Hannah, Lou, Ursula, and Gregory flew back, vanishing into puffs of smoke. The binding chains fizzled into nothing as his face contorted further, because his face is already contorted. So you need to say it contorted even further. His features becoming horrific. His ropes whipped at them both, cutting Lachlan across the face and hitting Tanya so hard she flew to her back. Or she flew back. She flew back. Okay, we're continuing with the action. Now we have heightened action. The tension that began here, the increase in tension, is now coming to a crescendo. Because now he's getting out of control. He just sent away. He had the power enough to send away these ghosts. These bound ghosts that Tanya summoned. So now we know things are getting out of control.
Shit's getting real.
Recoiling from the strike, Lachlan said, Tanya, love, we have to stop him. We have to. They were running out of time. Yeah, they certainly are. I know, hon, she said, pulling herself up a gash along her chest, but Mr. Simmons is making a choice. We can't force him to go quietly. If he goes feral, then there's no hope. You know what we'll have to do. All right, this is now unnecessary. What you're doing, you started off with a good response to the attack. You still got action, but now you're breaking us out of the action prematurely. They're having a conversation here. No.
Bit of a chat.
No, we don't have a bit of a chat during something like this. Mr. Simmons is making the choice. No, you're gonna need to tighten this up a bunch.
Chaos.
Tighten up dialogue. I can't spell dialogue.
Neither can I.
To not slow down the fast action. Okay? Because we're building up to a crescendo. Lachlan's heart ached. Once the ghost gave up, it's nothing more. Every time it happens, my greatest pain is greatest failure. Well, okay. Again, I think you need to move that up to here. Combine these two. Combine with previous paragraph. because you're taking us out of the action now. I don't care. I don't care. Okay. But even as Mr. Simmons' eyes started turning black, even as rope started catching fire, a shot rang out through the night. Aha! Boom! That's it. That is the crescendo. That's it. That's what got it. You're leading up to the shot ringing out through the night. For a moment, he stopped screeching, his expression one of surprise and pain. Then another shot resounded. This time a bullet ripped through his ghostly head, creating a small hole. Vapors of spiritual stuff puffed out and wisps as Mr. Simmons let out a shriek of agony. That's it. Your climax. Right here. But we can tighten it up. This is rather drawn out. We can tighten this up. Even as rope started catching fire, you can really tighten that up a lot. Okay? Because a shot rang out through the night. That's your climax.
Say, tighten up the whole paragraph?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, when in doubt, dance. Let's dance.
Okay? For a moment, he stopped screeching. Another shot resounded. This time, the bullet ripped through his ghostly head. Okay, he's being shot. And it's showing the results of the shot. Okay? This is actually destroying him. Then, a woman's Cockney voice chimed in over Lachlan and Tanya's PDAs. Poor blimey, do I gotta do everything? From atop a transmission tower several blocks away, a scope glinted in the moonlight. Okay. So that's the person who did the shot. Des Bloody Ripper? Tanya asked. We thought you were injured earlier. Okay. So, not sure about that. Bloody Ripper. So, that's the name of this sniper. Bloody Ripper. I was, but then I got better. The old man wouldn't let me stay down. Okay. So now you've introduced another character in this background. The old man. Okay. So this has got to be somebody connected with the organization. So this is good. You brought in this old man. So now I'm going to want to know, in the very next chapter, I'm going to want to know who this old man is. Okay. Mr. Simmons started snarling again. Another shot echoed in the still night air. A hole appeared in his chest, and with another pain cry, he began to sink to the ground. Okay, he's been shot 3 times. And it's torn him up every single time. So that we got 3 shots so far. Boy, guys, love to chat and all that, but can you maybe send this arse on before I run out of bullets? Okay. She is commenting directly on the 3 shots that she just did. With a nod, Lachlan said, Tanya, buy me 10 more seconds, please. Of course. Tanya, blood pouring down her bodysuit, let out a rebel yell and jumped upon Mr. Simmons, a purple aura flaring around her. That's, I'm thinking of the Billy Idol song, and that's not where my mind needs to be.
With a rebel yell.
No.
She cried, die.
Nope.
No, this is awful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And jumped upon Mr. Simmons, a purple aura flare. Again and again, she sliced with the blade of her rod, each hit on the spectral body like a clap of thunder, energy shooting out like sparks. Shrieking, he slapped at her with his rope, knocking her to the ground. She rolled to the side, an angry cut across her back. Crap, do it, hon. Okay. Not once have I seen the noose do anything.
Yeah.
What's the point of the noose?
Yeah. Good question.
Okay. So now he's got 1 rope instead of like several. So what happened with the several? Did they get cut off? I didn't see that happen in the previous ones. I saw that Lachlan sliced 1 rope, but there were multiple ropes flying around. So he should still have multiple ropes. The sniper didn't shoot his ropes off.
Yeah, no, she did not. And I agree, Wrath. The noose is cool, and I wish I hadn't dropped it. I mean, these are all, like, looking back on these just from my perspective, I'm like, oh my god. But, you know, we all come from a point where we make this kind of stuff, so
right,
it's all good.
Okay, so you don't have, so your action, even though you have some dialogue, they are focused on the task at hand, on the action at hand.
Right.
So I don't have a problem with this. I don't, because they're talking, but they're focused on what the hell is happening in front of them. Okay.
It's not useless exhibition for exhibition's sake.
Correct. So now we have Tanya slicing this thing up to hell and back. At this point, with all this happening, he's been shot 3 times, sliced. Lachlan's done some damage, and now Tanya. Is there going to be anything left of Mr. Simmons to send? It seems to me that they're going the second route here and destroying him, and I'm okay with that. But to me now, it doesn't make sense to try to send him when, 1, he's gone feral, and your orders were destroy him if he goes feral. 2, you're destroying him.
Hello, Dog Fox. Welcome to the stream.
No, you're not going to try to send him anymore. There's nothing left. Okay, crap, do it, hun. So after all this, so this is where I'm going to just start redlining. Okay, this is not realistic, not anymore. Forcing himself not to worry about her, Lachlan finished the circle, blah blah blah, more magic words. The afterlife awaits, be free. As the last drop of blood fell into place and his incantation finished, the circle turned bright white, the blood tracing on the ground into a complex design. Mr. Simmons screamed again as his rope popped 1 strand at a time. Okay. I'm not getting the sense of this at all.
I was trying to do something cool with the noose.
There's no noose.
There's only bad writing.
Tanya rolled out of the circle just as white energy exploded upwards, covering Mr. Simmons completely. Okay, well, again, I'm not sure. I'm not keeping any of this because y'all just sliced him up to hell and back. Howling, he thrashed about and his body broke apart like grains of sand, flying upward into a spectral vortex of clouds leading into a bright, all-consuming light. For one brief moment, his eyes met Lachlan's. It was the same look on as with every ghost ever sent on, gratitude. Okay, I did 2 paragraphs at once, but I wanted to see how this would end. Okay, so he, assuming we keep this, assuming we change all the action before to where we're not slicing him up so badly, assuming that we're going to do the sending. Okay, so instead of worrying about his partner, he's going to finish that circle, and the last drop of blood falls into place. Okay, this is a little awkward. I would restate this sentence a little better to have it flow better, because you're taking me out of the action again with a lot of purple prose. The whole point of this is the spell activating. The spell activates, Mr. Simmons reacts, Tanya gets the fuck out of the way, and then it finishes and Mr. Simmons is completely engulfed. Okay, so basically the whole point of this paragraph is to say that the spell goes off.
It just works.
So there's condense. Point is the spell goes off.
8.
Okay.
Yeah, Wrath. Mr. Himmons said, later, bitch, and he's gone.
Okay, now we see what happens. Okay, howling, his body thrashed, his body broke apart. It flies upward into this, and that's nice, into a spectral vortex of clouds leading to a bright, all-consuming light. Okay, so you're telling us what happens when a person is sent. And this is the denouement. This is actually the denouement of this action sequence. Mm-hmm. The ghost feels gratitude. He's being sent on and he's grateful. Okay. And then Mr. Simmons is gone. All right. Now we have the resting. The action is gone. Now we have okay. Let's rest, regroup, reader rest, regroups. Let's have some convo about this. Let's talk about what the hell just happened. Lachlan took only a moment to catch his breath while hurrying over to Tanya and removing her mask yet again. She hates that. She was breathing heavy, her eyes closed, so he smeared the blood from his neck wound over her lovely face. Blah, blah, blah. The blood soaked into her skin, her body glowed, and a moment later her injuries began to heal.
Because, yes, be careful with Todd Howard's School of Idea Development. 16 times a disaster. Also, STDs for the win, right?
Okay, yeah, okay. So...
Rub my blood on you.
Okay, so he had to rub his neck on her face.
It's so dirty when you say it. It sounded much better in my head, really.
Let me look to see.
Hey, if you really love someone, smear your neck wound on them.
Okay, so Tanya cutting Lachlan across the face. Okay, so he hit Tanya hard, but we don't know where or how he hit Tanya. Okay, so then, he hit Tanya, she flew back. Okay, so there's a gash along her chest. Okay, that's where he hit her, on her chest. Okay, so why is he taking off her mask and putting blood on her face?
Probably a mating ritual.
Right. So...
I warned you guys, this is rough.
Yeah.
Not some of my better work, but that's okay.
Okay. Her wound is on her chest. Okay. Alright, so now we know the blood soaks into the skin, her body will glow, and then her injuries will heal. Okay. Then then her eyes open. Must you always take my mask off? Okay. Well, we won't need that if he's healing her correctly. But her lips upturned a small smile. Okay, he couldn't help but chuckle. Well, you do look better with it on. Haha, more banter. So they're bantering. They've been partners for a long time. They can banter like that. Cool. However, this is going to be changed. This is going to be altered because we're altering how he's healing her. So let me go ahead and put a pin in this.
Perk.
Now she snorted and sat up, snatching her mask back. Then she spoke to her PDA. Command, this is Blind Moses. Operation is a success. Target was sent. Historic Fort Marcy Park is clear. Requesting cleanup crew and a ride home. Okay, so this is all just standard, operative, we're ending the mission thing.
Yeah.
So now we know her code name is Blind Moses. He's been calling her Tanya all this time. But her name is actually Blind Moses. Now, let's go back. This is where I'm going to go back and see if he ever... Yep. He just broke protocol right here after telling her about breaking protocol. Tanya. She called him by his name and he chided her, but he's been calling her Tanya this whole time. No, Mr. Lachlan. You're going to be calling her Blind Moses the entire time.
I do have a question, because I know I've been largely silent this whole time as far as rebuttal. My question is, if he mentioned at the very beginning over PDA to always use codes, call signs. Which is what he did. Is that accurate and enough, or is that something that is rendered irrelevant by the criticism you just gave it?
No. When she uses his name, he scolds her and reminds her to use call signs.
Over the PDA.
Over the PDA. That shows one, they're a little farther apart than just conversation distance. Two, she's the type of person where, as I said, she's very direct and very down to earth and doesn't care for bureaucracy and shit. But he reminds her of the protocol, so she's like, fine, I'll do the protocol because we're Geist operatives. We're going to do this protocol. Okay. So after that, he needs to say Blind Moses. He never needs to refer to her at all as Tanya. Ever in this whole chapter. He refers to her as Blind Moses. Okay. All right. So Operation success. Target was sent. Okay, you're telling your location. Requesting cleanup crew to ride home. All right, the PDA crackled and a voice rang out. Understood, Blind Moses.
Hush, Wrath.
You, Demon Slayer, and Bloody Ripper are clear to return to the sanctuary. Congratulations on another completed operation. Okay, this right here is how professional they should be acting the whole time over the PDA, as far as the PDA is concerned. Okay. So it's now solidified in my mind that Geist is a very professional organization. And these guys are professionals.
Sounds good.
And now we know their code names. As Tanya turned off her PDA, Lachlan stood up and offered an arm. My lady? She took his hand and he helped her up with her, groaning softly. The blood from her wounds had stopped, and the flesh was knitting back. She'd be just fine. Ugh, I'm getting too old for this. Ah! So now we know that she is, she's not a fresh out of training school newbie. She's been out in the field for a while. Her age, we can expect that she's going to be probably over 30. Okay. The blood from her wounds had stopped and the flesh was knitting back. Actually, you don't need to say that because you said you healed her back here. So you don't need that at all. She's already healed. He rested a hand on her back, rubbing gently. Nah, just like a fine wine, you get better with age. Okay, you're reinforcing the idea that she's older. Mm-hmm. We don't know how much older, but she's older. She's not in her 20s. We got that. She could be in her 30s. She could be in her 40s. We don't know. But she's very physically active, so we know for a fact, unless she's supernatural, she's not in her 60s. Soft redness came to her cheeks and she pushed him away. You can't take anything seriously, can you? Then footsteps approached. Blimey, am I interrupting something then? Desdemona stood off to the side, her dark purple hair with a pink streak covering one of her magenta eyes. Her pale skin shone in the moonlight, barely hidden by her long-sleeve fishnet shirt and her low-hanging black jeans. She was resting her arms on her extra-long sniper rifle and holding a clove cigarette between her dark purple lips. That's a lot of prose to try to describe somebody.
See.
So we can tighten up the description. Tighten up description of new character.
If y'all were wondering all this time where the 90s goth was, there she is.
There's your 90s goth right here. With another snort, Tanya retracted the blade on her rod and slipped it into the holster on her back. You saved us, Des. Thank you. No problem here. This is a response. You have an action and a dialogue response to something a previous character previously did. Then Lachlan joins in. He nodded. Thank goodness for the old man, eh? Okay, so you're mentioning the old man again. That means this old man is very important. And the old man must be really good at restoring grave injuries. You know, bringing people back from the brink, that sort of thing. So I'm going to want to see more of this old man. Puffing on her cigarette, she shrugged. Just doing my job, mates, nothing special. Then she nudged her head up towards where Mr. Simmons had gone. Pan, you've been doing this longer than Locke and I. You ever figure where they go when we send them?
Funny rat.
Okay, so now we're getting into a little bit of lore here.
Yeah.
A little bit of world building. Okay, right here. Where do they go when we send them? Also, we're reinforcing the idea that Tanya is older. Tanya sat down at the base of the stairs. She seemed tired. Ah, callback to her being older. Nope, and we don't know either. That's one mystery no one has ever solved. Okay, so we got a little bit more world building here, a little bit of lore. It looks like people have tried to been figuring this out and no one has yet.
Ah, good. Yeah, Burke, it's true. Yeah, I've learned things since then. But yes, extra long is not the correct terminology for the rifle.
That is correct.
Burke is correcting.
Humph. Desdemona spat out the cigarette and ground it into the gravel. Well, I guess we'll never know, Shaking his head, Lachlan said, correct, love, we'll never know. Once your soul goes there, it can never come back. He grew silent as Tanya closed her eyes and Desdemona walked off, high-stepping to stretch her legs. He looked down at his hands, the cuts already healed thanks to the self-healing spells woven into his clothes. Okay. So where's the brand? Every time he failed to send a ghost, every time he had to destroy a feral one, it reminded him of his greatest pain, the first 2 ghosts he was forced to obliterate. Mother, father. Okay, so we got some character backstory there, which is good. Which is good. It explains the psychology of this character.
Yeah.
It seems like there's a little bit of dragging out here. Okay, so Tanya said, nope, we'll never know. And no one's ever solved it. Well, I guess we'll never know. Lachlan doesn't need to be a parrot. He doesn't need to repeat all this. So
It's a good thing to note.
He can say, once your soul goes there, it never comes back, but you don't need to be parroting him. So I'm going to cut that.
And Kane, yeah, well, that's the point of this. I wanted to show you guys. We had a number of things we could have showed you. We decided to show you probably one of my roughest works. Worst. I don't want to use the word worst, but roughest.
So I would work a little bit more on this too.
I would too.
Yeah, he looked down at his hands. So yeah, because we need to talk about that. That needs to be talked about. The blackened brand on his hand.
Oh yeah.
And because and the cuts. He made 2 cuts, one on his finger and one on the palm of his hand.
Yeah.
Was it the same hand or 2 different hands?
Right.
So yeah, there's all those. And we are at the end of the first chapter.
So, any questions about that? Yeah, like I said many times, and trying to defend myself, this is one of my roughest works. So we wanted to give you guys something that was hard to go through.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, it was actually rough for me reading this because yeah, we're done. Chaos. I'm just reminded where I was and how far I've come. So it's a good trip down memory lane. I might actually pick this manuscript up again some point soon.
But this just goes to show, this is what all goes into a true revision.
Right.
This is what I do. This is called dev editing. I wasn't just grammar and punctuation. I wasn't just line editing. I was proofreading. I was actually getting into this. What's going on and why is it happening?
Yeah.
Who are these people and why should I care?
Why should you care?
Do we have consequences? Action, consequence, action, consequence.
Mm-hmm.
Is that consistent?
Yep.
This is what the heart of revision is.
It is, yes.
And you see just how much I did.
And this is highly truncated.
And this is me. This is a stream, so I was just going through this quickly.
Yeah.
I actually do a lot of going back and forth in a chapter and amongst chapters.
Yes.
There are times when I'm on chapter 7 and I thumb back to chapter 2 and I read and compare what the callback is or if a callback was missed.
Yes.
And you do that.
And generally speaking, also, and this is different. When Teal and I can do this because we live together. She'll go through a block of chapters and we'll sit down and we'll discuss in depth where they do and don't work. Mm-hmm. You may not have that luxury if you're working remotely, so you'll probably get what's called a change document. And that'll be where your changes are. Berkeley says, just going into Steele's Vault of Literary Shame, learned how to work, still better than structure 80% of Wi-Fi. Thank you. I appreciate that, even though it's a LOL, Burke. That means a lot to me. Yeah, one day maybe I'll show you guys something that's a lot more polished.
Yeah,
this.
Absolutely, yeah.
You know, it's like, I don't feel like I've lost any street cred. I don't feel like that at all, but I'd like to show you guys what a polished work looks like at some point. Agape says, so how much would a service like this cost?
Okay, you're looking at a really good dev editor. You're talking about a couple of $100.
Oh gosh, for chapter total, yeah, I would say because you yourself don't actually dev edit freelance.
No, I don't freelance.
You'll give free yet, but the person who I know who she calls herself a novel nurse, I think she'll go through 100,000 word chapter, 100,000 word manuscript for like $1,000, and then it goes up from there if it's over that. So it's not cheap, Agape. A short story, maybe a couple of hundred. You know, like a short story, it's like 10 or 20,000 words. A novella, maybe about 300 or 400. You know,
Steel knows the prices. I don't know the prices.
Yeah, because
so listen to what Steel says
I'm
about
a very
the pricing. He knows the
yeah.
pricing.
I'm one of my friends is she calls herself the novel nurse or the nurse of novels. So it's like basically she's, you know, she doctors up your novel, and she makes pretty good prices on it. So if you want Agape, I can actually verify the cost and post it to Discord after I talk to her, because she's got a really good price sheet. And yeah, Teal you've thought about doing it, haven't you?
I have thought about doing it.
Freelancing it, yeah.
Freelancing.
Yeah.
You know, it's not off the table.
Right. So,
but my services don't come cheap because I am very, very thorough.
Yeah, you've seen what she did over the past hour and a half. Now, 2 hours actually, because we spent about 30 minutes of the lecture portion. So much work. I pay in back rubs, snugs, and movie nights. Yep. And ice cream. So yeah, you can make a lot of money. Not a lot of money, but you can make a good living. Dev editors can. And yeah, Wrath, it is a product of its era. It is. So yeah, any other questions for her? The pricing seems legit. It's a real service. Yeah, no, this is time consuming.
This is very, very time consuming.
Yeah. It takes time.
A good dev editor is going to spend hours on just just on a couple of chapters. Yeah. Seriously.
Yes.
It takes a lot of it takes me, oh my god, one of your manuscripts, it took me like 3 weeks.
Of every night.
Every night going through. I pushed. That was 3 weeks.
3 weeks. But that was every single night, hours per night. Obviously, if you're balancing between that and other things or multiple dev editing projects, it's going to take longer. But yeah, it's pretty awesome. Steel is cheap. I am a cheap date, Chaos.
Oh yeah, he's so cheap.
Cheap date.
He's so cheap.
Any last minute questions? We'll give you guys about 5 minutes to kind of wind it down. Teal, that was amazing, honey. That was amazing. You are amazing as always. This actually is me interested in getting back into this. Awesome. Thank you so much for the follow. Little JD movement. Little JD movement. All right. Thank you so much for the follow. Welcome to Studio Blue. Unrelated question. I haven't been here because I was distracted with other stuff. Where do I find the notes you made from the game jam? Wow. Oh, thank you. Kane Ravel finally gives us a follow. Woo-hoo-hoo. Thank you so much for the follow, Kane. And thank you for the awesome compliment earlier. That really meant a lot to us. So, Agape, check out the ending video for the game jam if you're talking about the one that we ran back in September. Just go to our YouTube channel. If someone actually has access to that video, maybe post it. Not the award ceremony, but the shorter video that kind of talks a bit about it. Otherwise, it would be the different games. We didn't actually write notes down like Barry B did. He actually created a list. We just made videos because we're video makers. Yeah, any last minute questions? I'll give you guys just a few more minutes and then we're gonna go because I'm tired. I gotta eat. I'm sure you're tired. You gotta eat. We got work to do.
Oh, yes. But I'm glad that I was able to do this to show you what goes into a real what can go into a deep dive process of revising.
Absolutely. Thank you, Dark Ninja, J Dark Ninja. That means a lot. Hope you come back for other streams. Wednesday and Thursday we do critical plays of AAA games and we analyze the problems with those AAA games. Fridays are an AMA and Mondays are this. Go ahead, baby.
Okay, no, I'm done.
Okay.
I have said what I'm going to say.
You know, and if Teal ever decides that she wants to freelance dev editing and you want to talk to her one-on-one, she's open to talking. You know, just bring your A game. Oh, thank you, Wrath. Thank you. I do think we should probably call it.
Yeah, we should probably call it. It has been very long.
Very long.
This has been a long
you
workshop.
Guys have been amazingly
Yeah.
patient. We love you all very much. Thank you, Kane. Thank you. All right. Well, we are going to call it for the evening. We love you guys very much. This has been a lot of fun. Please come by on Wednesday for our critical play of Dragon Quest XI. Teal is in Act 3 now, and we are really analyzing whether or not the game is doing it right.
Right, correct.
Then Thursday, of course, is Horizon Zero Dawn, and Friday is our AMA. So, Chaos, ask that question over Discord. We'll try to answer it then. And for everyone else, if you like what you saw, lay the smack down the like button below, subscribe to our channel, consider supporting us on Patreon, connect with us over Facebook, Twitter, Discord. See you in the next video.
See you next time.